Are you really ready to hear some hard-hitting truths about aging, or would you rather keep sugar-coating it until reality knocks you flat on your back? Because let me tell you, the number of surprises that come with getting older can be downright shocking, and most of us don't even see them coming until they're already here. I'm not talking about the sweet little myths we tell ourselves, like endless free time or worry-free afternoons. No, I'm referring to those moments where you catch yourself thinking, this can't be happening to me, or why didn't anyone warn me about this? I'll be honest, I used to believe I had aging all figured out. I told myself that once I hit my 60s, life would slow down just enough for me to truly savor every moment. I pictured relaxed days filled with reading, traveling, and catching up with friends whenever I pleased. And sure, some of that has come true, but there was a whole list of side effects that blindsided me. And I'm pretty sure they blindside a lot of older adults. Aging is not all gloom and doom, of course. There's a certain wisdom and grace that can come with our later years. But there are also hidden pitfalls that nobody bothered to mention back when we were younger. That's why I want to share these realities with you now, to give you a heads up, to let you know you're not alone, and to talk about practical, no-nonsense ways of dealing with them. In my circle, there's a friend named Tessa, who's 68, going on 69. She's always been active, vibrant, and curious about life. She loves her garden, she loves her grandchildren, and she loves cooking up new recipes she finds online, particularly healthy takes on classic dishes. But even Tessa, who's done a darn good job at keeping herself engaged and healthy, started experiencing these unpleasant changes that no one had prepared her for. She began to feel a bit embarrassed and sometimes even isolated because she thought she was the only one. She wasn't. That's the big secret. None of us are alone in this. But a lot of us think we are because we don't talk about it openly. Let's break that silence. Below, I'll walk you through 10 unpleasant things seniors do or experience as we age that nobody really warns us about in our younger years. For each one, I'll share some insights, a bit of Tessa's story or my own, and some real strategies to help you cope. Because it's never too late to adjust your mindset or your habits. But before we start, do me one favor. If any of this resonates, if any of this has you nodding your head and thinking, yes, that's exactly what I've been facing, drop a comment, at least in your own notebook or journal. Let's keep the conversation going, whether here or among friends in your community, because the more we share, the more we ease each other's burdens. Deal? 1. sudden frustration over little things. I never used to think of myself as cranky, but over the past couple of years, I've found myself getting exasperated over the most trivial things. Maybe it's the phone ringing when I'm in the middle of watching a favorite show, or the neighbor's dog barking right when I'm trying to take an afternoon nap. These small irritations can feel surprisingly large, and I'm not alone in this. Tessa confided that she's sometimes caught off guard by how snappy she can get. For instance, last week her internet went out in the middle of a video chat with her granddaughter. Before, she might have shrugged it off, tried resetting the router, or calmly called the internet provider. But that day, she practically slammed her laptop shut and exclaimed, "Why does everything have to go wrong?" Then she felt guilty afterward. What you can do. I find that taking 3 slow, deep breaths before reacting is a game changer. It sounds almost too simple to be true, but consciously pausing helps me regain control. Another tip is to keep a gratitude list by your bed. Each morning or evening, jot down 3 things you're thankful for, whether it's the coffee you had in the morning or a short phone call with a friend. This mental shift toward appreciation can make those pesky moments less irritating when they pop up. 2. Reluctance to ask for help, even when it's needed. If you're anything like me, you probably take pride in your independence, and asking for help may feel like a blow to that independence. I was raised to handle tasks on my own, from hauling groceries to fixing a leaky faucet. But as I've gotten older, I've noticed that some chores around the house, like climbing on a step stool to change a light bulb or rearranging furniture, leave me winded, dizzy, or just plain unsure of my balance. Tessa had a similar experience where she tried to move a couple of heavy patio chairs, and she ended up straining her back for a week. The unpleasant truth. We push ourselves to prove we haven't lost our edge, but in reality, we can do more harm than good by refusing help. According to a 24 Senior Wellness Survey, I spotted a reference to it in an online forum for caregivers. Injuries from falls remain one of the top medical concerns for older adults. Often, these accidents happen when we try to handle something ourselves that's just beyond our current abilities. The solution: turn your perspective around. Accepting help doesn't mean giving up your independence. It means preserving it. By letting someone else assist with a risky task, you keep yourself safe and healthy enough to continue doing the activities you love. Embrace the help graciously, and when you can, return the favor in a way that suits your strengths, like offering your time or wisdom in an area you excel at. The body's strange new warning signs. I remember the first time I truly felt how different my body had become. I stood up from my recliner and suddenly felt a shooting pain down my lower back. It went away in a few minutes, but I was left wondering, what on earth was that? Then there are other oddities, random knee aches, an unexpected headache, or even acid reflux from a meal that used to be harmless to my stomach. These strange bodily warnings come with the aging territory, but nobody prepared me for how unpredictable they can be. Tessa has a similar story. She used to stand for hours while cooking elaborate family dinners, but these days she notices her ankles swelling or her feet aching a lot sooner, sometimes forcing her to rest before she can finish the meal. What helps? For me, paying closer attention to nutrition and hydration has made a real difference. Drinking enough water, aiming for at least 8 glasses a day, and cutting back on foods that aggravate me, like overly processed or super spicy meals, helps reduce these random aches and pains. Gentle movement, such as stretching or walking for 15 minutes at a time, can keep the joints lubricated. Consider tracking these warning signs in a small health journal. Jot down when you feel pain, what you were doing, and how long it lasted. Over time, you might see a pattern. Then you can bring this info to your doctor, which often speeds up finding real solutions. The not-so-subtle memory lapses. We've all chuckled at the classic scenario of walking into a room only to forget why we're there. It becomes less funny, though, when it happens repeatedly, and especially if it involves forgetting someone's name or missing an important appointment. Let me tell you, forgetting the birthday of a grandchild, oh boy, that's a sting that leaves you feeling downright terrible. While a one-time lapse isn't alarming, it's those recurring moments that start to worry us. What's going on? Cognitive changes are normal as we age. However, ignoring them can lead to increased anxiety about mental decline. How to manage? I keep a small notepad in my pocket. Yes, I know everyone has a smartphone these days, but writing something down physically helps me remember it better. Also, it's less intimidating than fumbling through apps or forgetting where I stored a digital note. Another trick is repeating a name or fact out loud right after hearing it. And if you're technologically inclined, set calendar alerts for important dates, medication reminders, or daily tasks. Adapt. Feeling overlooked or invisible. I never thought I would be the one feeling invisible in a crowded room. But as the years roll on, especially when I'm around much younger people, it can feel like I've faded into the background. Retail employees might overlook me, or a busy nurse might brush off my questions. Sometimes it's subtle, like being left out of fast-paced conversations. Other times, it's outright disrespectful, and it hurts. Tessa told me about a recent family gathering where everyone was excitedly discussing the latest social media trend. She tried to chime in, but the grandkids had a hard time slowing down to explain it to her. She ended up feeling a bit alienated at her own family event. Recognizing this shift, it's a sad reality that society often values youth and speed, and older adults sometimes get lost in the shuffle. But that doesn't mean we have to accept it passively. What you can do, speak up. Whether you're at the doctor's office or chatting with family, don't be afraid to say, "Hang on, I'd like to share something," or "Could you please slow down and explain that again?" There's nothing shameful about setting boundaries or asking for clarity. You have the right to be heard and included. Also, consider joining a community of peers, like a local senior center or an online group where your voice will be welcomed. Finding or creating spaces where you're valued can balance out those times you feel invisible. 6. Changes in appearance that go beyond wrinkles. We all expect wrinkles and gray hair at some point, but how about those little age spots, the dryness or thinning hair, or the suddenly sagging skin around the jawline? For me, it was noticing how my hands started to look more veiny and fragile. For Tessa, it was the fine lines around her lips that made her lipstick look different. Those are the subtle changes that catch us by surprise and remind us we're not 30 anymore. Sun damage accumulated over decades also begins to show up in the form of age spots or discoloration. Ways to cope. Moisturize, moisturize, moisturize. A good gentle lotion or cream can do wonders for dry skin. Sunscreen isn't just for the beach days. Using it daily can slow further damage. If certain changes upset you, a dermatologist can advise on treatments or topical creams that might reduce discoloration or dryness. 7. Problems with technology and rapidly changing gadgets. Can we talk about the frustration of staying up to date? Sometimes it feels like everything changes overnight. Tessa once accidentally locked herself out of her phone for hours because she forgot her PIN code after switching devices. She ended up missing a chance to join a virtual family celebration because she couldn't log in on time. Why? This happens. Technology evolves faster than we can blink, and if you didn't grow up with smartphones and tablets, it's normal to feel overwhelmed. What helps you stay sane? Patience with yourself is key. It's easy to get frustrated or feel stupid, but remind yourself that these are new skills. And younger people struggle when new gadgets pop up. Write down important steps. For example, if you learn how to log into a video chat, list out the process. Open app, click the green button, enter password, press join. Keep that note somewhere handy for next time. If you can, ask a grandchild or neighbor to show you slowly, step by step, and take as many notes as you need. There's no shame in repeatedly asking for a refresher. This is all about empowerment, not embarrassment. 8. Unwanted weight shifts and fluctuating energy. Remember when you could eat a plate of spaghetti at midnight and not gain an ounce? Those days seem like a distant memory now. These days, if I so much as look at a chocolate cake, I swear I feel my waistline expand. Tessa used to jog regularly, but she had to cut down after a knee injury last year. Now, her typical exercise routine is gentler, and her metabolism has slowed. The result? She gained about 10 pounds seemingly out of nowhere, leading to frustration and some self-consciousness about her body. Why? It happens. According to a 23 Nutrition study, metabolism naturally declines with age, and hormonal shifts, particularly in postmenopausal women, can lead to weight gain around the abdomen. Combine that with reduced mobility or less intense workouts, and it's easy to see why the scale might creep up. How to tackle it? Focus on nutrient-dense meals rather than crash diets. Add more protein, fiber, and healthy fats to keep you feeling fuller longer. Think grilled chicken with veggies, or if you're a vegetarian, lentil soups with a side of whole grain bread. Also, consider smaller, more frequent meals throughout the day, rather than large feasts that can lead to energy crashes. Engage in low-impact exercises like water aerobics, gentle yoga, or even chair exercises if mobility is a concern. These help maintain muscle mass, which in turn helps keep your metabolism more active. Patience is key here. Weight management is a marathon, not a sprint, and every healthy choice adds up. 9. Social circles, shrinking, and grief. Becoming a frequent companion. It's not pleasant to talk about, but it's a reality. The older we get, the more we encounter friends or loved ones getting ill or passing away. Sometimes it feels like our social circle shrinks faster than we can rebuild it. Tessa has noticed that several of her closest friends have moved to be nearer their children, while others aren't as mobile and therefore can't go out to social events. This can leave us feeling isolated, which often exacerbates sadness or depression. I've had my own struggles with grief. In the past 2 years, I lost a dear friend to cancer. Processing that kind of loss is never simple, and it's a stark reminder of how fragile life is. Many older adults find themselves dealing with grief more regularly, whether it's the loss of a spouse, a sibling, a friend, or even a beloved pet. How to cope. If you find your friend group dwindling, actively seek new connections. That might mean joining a local walking club or volunteering at a community center where other older adults gather. There are also grief support groups both online and in person, that can help you process these emotions in a safe, understanding environment. Talking to a professional counselor can also be incredibly helpful. There's no shame in seeking therapy at any age. And when it comes to old friendships separated by distance, technology can be a lifeline. 10. Feeling that time is running out and the pressure to get it all done. The reality of mortality becomes much clearer with each passing year. For me, it's traveling. I always had a dream of visiting certain places, like seeing the northern lights or traveling through Europe by train. Now, I feel that I have a ticking clock over my head, and it sometimes triggers anxiety. Tessa has a different take. She wants to finish writing a memoir for her grandchildren, confronting this fear. Instead of letting this fear paralyze you, use it as motivation to prioritize what truly matters. Make a short list of your top goals, then break those down into smaller, achievable steps. If you want to travel, look into senior travel discounts or group tours that cater to older adults. If you want to write a memoir, schedule 1 hour a day or a few hours a week to jot down memories. A final note on this topic. Remember, no matter your age, life isn't solely about checking boxes. Don't let your worry about the future rob you of the present moment, wrapping it all up. Embracing change and finding joy. Aging comes with its fair share of surprises, and let's be honest, not all of them are pleasant. From the unexpected changes in our bodies to the emotional roller coasters, it can be a lot to handle. But there's a silver lining. We're never truly alone in any of this. The bottom line is that acknowledging these unpleasant realities doesn't mean we become pessimistic. Quite the opposite. If you've resonated with any of these points, I encourage you to keep the conversation going. Talk to your friends, neighbors, or even your grandchildren about what you're feeling. Join a local club or hop onto an online group where seniors exchange stories, tips, and encouragement. Sometimes all it takes is one honest conversation to lift that weight off your shoulders. And hey, if you found this script helpful, share it with a friend who might also be struggling. Let's break the silence on the more challenging parts of aging so that none of us feel blindsided again. Remember, growing older isn't a curse. It's a journey. So here's to embracing every moment, the good and the not so good. Because even when aging takes us by surprise, we can navigate it with grace, humor, and a community that understands exactly where we're coming from. After all, the goal isn't to age without challenges. The goal is to age while knowing we can handle those challenges and keep on enjoying life's simple pleasures, one step, one laugh, and one heartfelt conversation at a time.